Hi everyone in English 1301. This is Dr. E. Welcome to the course. This is a video that is meant to walk through all the various areas within D2L that we will utilize regularly in our online course. Please forgive any background noise you hear. There is a dog that will not stop chewing, so that's some wonderful ambient noise for us to enjoy. I'm out of town unexpectedly, so my apologies that we're doing this the bare bones way. Anyhow, so this video is going to walk through how I utilize D2L as a professor. So, you may have taken courses via D2L in the past, but every instructor, every professor uses, the tools a little bit differently. And some of you may be coming from schools that utilize Canvas or Blackboard, and D2L is very different, for better or worse, very different. Yeah. Okay, so the first thing to know is this is a previous course, right? So there are elements you will see here that you may not see in our specific course just because it hasn't been fleshed out yet, right? We are not thick into the semester with all kinds of announcements and all kinds of details, but I want you to see what to expect, kind of, and I want you to see what it looks like when things, are present, right? So a blank course is just not going to be as helpful to look at. So the first thing to always check when you log into D2L, and I definitely recommend that you utilize the browser version. There is the Brightspace Pulse app that you can utilize, but it is not very functional. It is not for you to use on the regular. It is more for, quick checking in with your phone when you're not sitting in front of your device, just because it is not visually as helpful, but it also is not going to show you all of the information, and it's just not going to be functional. You cannot upload your work from the Pulse app. Anyhow, so the first place to go is to the announcements. This is where I will try to post reminders. I don't overdo it here. It's one of those things where, we have a course schedule where everything is kind of laid out. So the reminders are just meant to be kind of if, I'm trying to really stress something or if something has changed. So the announcements here, I just try not to overwhelm, right? Because we're likely getting all kinds of, information from various sources. So I'm trying not to just weigh you down with that information. But this is the first thing to check. And if you scroll down, you can also see that there is a visual table of contents. So if you're more of a visual person and you want to jump right to something like the syllabus, schedule, rubrics, or the student success area, if you need some tech help, everything is a really it's one click from this home page, right? So just click around. Like I said, some of you may be familiar with D2L, some of you may not. Within the first couple of days, we're in a very fast-paced course, so you want to take time to really click through the different areas and start to get comfortable with finding information within our course and how it's set up. So one place to really go to, for all of our information is going to be the content area. The syllabus here it's simple syllabus. Some of you may be familiar with it. It is the syllabus in its kind of most basic format. I will admit to you that I'm not, the biggest fan of how everything is set up in simple syllabus. I feel like this is a good place to go if you want to just quickly address something, but I want you to note that the content area really holds everything for our course. And that's going to include a more full version of the syllabus, which is in a separate video, so, we'll take some time with that as well. When you go to the content area, everything is set up here in the table of contents. So if you have questions about the book, if you have questions about, different things as a student, the syllabus, the schedule, any rubrics for our course, all of that information is in this content area, okay? I want you to start with the Start Here module, and that's just giving you kind of the basics, right? So you can meet your instructor if you want. There is a copy of the syllabus. There is a copy of the course calendar, everything that you need, including course frequently asked questions. So this is just a helpful place to kind of get a sense of the course. If you scroll down, you'll find all of those links. So if you want to find out a little bit more about me, even though we're doing some introductions, so you don't necessarily have to go here. I really recommend visiting this course frequently asked questions area, just because why not? This is one of those, we have so many questions when we start the semester. A lot of those questions can be answered through like the syllabus, right? But some of these questions just help give us peace of mind and help ease our minds, right? Again, in an accelerated course like we're in, it's best to arm yourself with as much knowledge as possible, okay? So I'm going back to the content area, spend some time with the start here, the book and additional readings. You have access to our course text through D2L. That's part of essentially your tuition. So when you need to read chapters, you just go to the student book access link that's right here. It may ask you to agree to the terms, so you'll just click through, and if you scroll down, this is our book essentially. So if you want chapter 1, so I'm just giving you kind of an example. This is not something you need to read the first few days. Okay, so going back to the table of contents, there is a whole module on student success, which means various things, right? So there's a link for care for completion. If you ever come across any troubles as a student, there is help, whether it comes to food insecurity or monetary issues, or if you need, counseling, advising, any of that kind of stuff, click care for completion and you can find that. Technology support, academic support, okay? The Q&A board, I'll get into more of that later down the road. There are bonus events and workshops. Some of this you're going to have to put on the back burner, right? Like we're going through so much information so quickly. So just kind of, I want to hit on these points, go back to it when you have the time, when you're clicking around, all of that good stuff. But I do want to hit on the idea that we do have a wonderful tutor who is embedded in our course. His name is Michael. He's wonderfully helpful, knows the assignments for our course. We've worked together before, so this is a note from him about how to get in touch with him, where to go, what to do if you would like a tutoring session. And then there's a whole section on writing strategies that I've tried to share from, advice from past students on being successful in the course, as well as what I identify as some tips, tricks, and tools. Okay, so again, this is the student success module. These are all modules, right? There's a whole module with various sub-modules on the syllabus and schedule that you can find here, as well as templates. So when it comes to MLA, it's not the easiest, so I've provided some templates that are already set up in MLA formatting. We will have mind map assignments in the future. I've just tried to put every bit of information, all, details about different assignments and rubrics here in one single location. I do want you to note that I do make updates. So yes, absolutely take a look at the multimedia project if you're interested. That's not coming up for a few weeks. But know that some things may change. This is not at all me, stressing that you look at all this and start working on any of these assignments. Absolutely not. This is just, I want you to know that everything is available when you need it. I don't want this to be a course where you feel like you're lost all the time, you don't know where you're going or what you're doing. Everything related to the assignments will be here. Okay, so that syllabus, schedule, rubrics, there's a whole, module on MLA formatting and guidelines. I have an MLA video that I filmed way back when to walk through, my expectations when it comes to MLA, but there are also various examples that you can look at. Again, this is for down the road. You don't need to know all this stuff immediately. It's just here when you need it, including a link for D2L and tech help. So how to use OneDrive, how to, do any of these kinds of things that are going to be helpful. This is kind of your location. If you come across any issues with something like uploading an assignment or difficulty accessing something through D2L, I am not the person to reach out to. Like, I would love to be as knowledgeable as I could be about a lot of this tech related stuff, but I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses. So when it comes to that, a lot of the time I'm going to say you got to reach out to OTS, right? You got to visit the Virtual Learning Assistance Center, or VLAC. So if you click on VLAC, this should be I really recommend that you bookmark this page because it is really that helpful. You have a desk chat link for IT if you have any kinds of tech issues. Librarian if you have any kinds of, immediate questions about research or MLA or anything like that. Everything that you would need to be a student and to be successful is available at this link. So again, I really recommend that you bookmark this and just save yourself some time if you, stress in the future. Okay. So that's the D2L and Tech Help module. And then we get to our weekly modules. And this is where every single thing for any particular week will be located. So again, this is not our course, so I'm not even going to start with week 1. I'm going to go to like week 5. Okay. So this will become something that looks familiar. There is a section that's taken directly from your course schedule, telling you what we're doing this week, telling you when things are due, what things are available, telling you how many points they are. And then if you scroll down, there's always going to be a link to the Q&A discussion board where you can post and even answer each other's questions. I, of course, will be in there regularly to do the same. But it's just a nice, quick way to get an answer. So absolutely feel free to email me with some of your questions. But please know that if you have a question, 9 times out of 10, other folks are going to have that same exact question. So let's post here. You can post anonymously if you don't feel comfortable, even though there's no such thing as a stupid question, right? Post here. There will be 3 sections always. There's always going to be to watch, to review, and to do. And you'll see that this matches, essentially what we're doing in the upcoming week. So for this week, they had quite a few videos to watch, or actually only 2, right? There were the mind map guidelines that I loaded here, even though those are also available in the syllabus schedule and rubrics area. And then to do, there's always going to be links for this. So essentially, this is where everybody needs to go every time you log in, just to double check, have I done everything? I try to post a checklist as well so that you can get a sense of, did I do this? Did I do this? Mind you, this means nothing. This does not, just because you click it doesn't mean that you submitted the work, right? I have some students who will go, well, I have, this completed in the checklist, but the checklist is just for you. It's just a tool and a resource to help you. So just something to keep in mind. Okay. So that's pretty much, our basic areas when it comes to, looking at things in D2L and getting accustomed to it. This is the grade book. When you see a dash in the grade book, that just means the item has not been graded. This is not anything to stress about. If you see some dashes, it just means I'm working on those grades. The turnaround time for writing assignments can be, quite a bit. It takes a while to grade writing, so don't freak out. But if you see a grade here that doesn't match, your own ideas, then that's definitely the time to reach out about it. And then if you hit the collaboration link and go to our discussion board, this is where you have the Q&A discussion board. If you have some general questions, you can see we posted quite a bit in this last class. There's also a student lounge area that I do not visit. I don't have access to. So if you want to exchange phone numbers or, set up group chats, anything like that, you are certainly welcome to do so. I do want you to note too that that Microsoft 365 Access is also a widget that's on our main page, and that you'll start to want to familiarize yourself with using OneDrive, which is very much like Google Docs, but it's something that you can use to upload directly to D2L, because you cannot upload directly, dog's drinking now, upload directly from Google Docs to D2L. So just something to keep in mind. All right, on to the next video, and let's have a great week.